Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday, November 21st, 2017, full meeting of the McLean County Board. At this time, we'll call this meeting to order. Please rise for the invocation by Member Selzer.
Loving and gracious God, your blessings are countless and your love is never ending. As we celebrate this Thanksgiving, we pray that you will open our hearts to you and to one another, that we may share the gifts you have given us in loving service to all people. Lord our God, you've done wondrous things on earth. Guide us as we care for and protect our county, our earthly home. Grant us joy of heart and may peace dwell with us. We pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk, please call the roll.
Josh Barnett. Here. Jacob Beard. William Casey. Here. Don Cavallini. Here. Chuck Erickson. Here. George Gordon. Absent. Mark Johnson. Here. Randall Martin. Here. Catherine Metzger. Present. Scott Murphy. Here. Eric Rankin. Present. Carla Robustelli. Present. Susan Schaefer. Here. Ryan Scritchlow.
Here.
Paul Segabiano. Here. David Selzer. Here. James Solner. Here. George Wendt. Present. Lori Wolrab. Here. John McIntyre.
Here. We have 19 members present, one absent. We do have a quorum. We have members of the public to speak this morning. First would be Ms. Patricia Martin. Please come to the podium.
Oh, boy. She speaks every month.
Morning. I've been very pleased with the results of the mental health classes that were given this year. I helped with some of the publicity myself and was also happy to see the wide variety of businesses and organizations that were willing to promote them. The History Museum, Heartland College, the United Methodist Church, the Sheriff's Office, Green Top Grocery, just to name a few. And our last class at OFS filled almost to capacity. I attended a class myself at Bromen, and other members included representatives from LifeSil, the Boys and Girls Club, and hospital administrators like Sonia Reese. The health department is planning additions to the classes for the coming year, which will be even more beneficial, for they can help build up stability in our communities, which we obviously need. Also, the classes are capable of serving our various populations in other ways. In October, the President of the United States signed the Elder Abuse and Prevention and Prosecution Act. This most comprehensive bill sees elder abuse as a law and justice issue, calling for, among other things, a national registry of elder abusers to improve data collection and the training of FBI agents for investigation. So they're taking a hardline approach on this. Its main sponsors were Senators Chuck Grassley of Iowa and Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, but our own Senator Dick Durbin of Springfield was also involved. And he also states that the safety and well-being of seniors is a priority of his. I watched an hour-long webinar of this yesterday, about this bill yesterday, and will send links to those who might be interested. I was especially impressed by the comments made by Paul Greenwood, a district attorney from San Diego, who dealt with just about everything from email fraud to telemarketing, also describing tools for prosecutors. I have talked to several of our people here in our county as to how we could best put this into practice. And one of Senator Bergman's aides felt that the best methods would be the continued promotion of our mental health classes. So we're obviously going in the right direction. Senator Bergman sponsored the Senate Elder Abuse resolution that was passed in Springfield earlier this year and is advocating against financial elder abuse. And I want to add that this bill started out by focusing solely on financial elder abuse, but has since been expanded to include other forms of abuse, including physical and emotional. So it's a major step forward. It's exciting to see the development of changes throughout our country, not just locally. We can only hope and work toward making them continue. I'm hoping too, and I talked to Mr. Wasson about this at one time, that some sort of legislation could be passed to make these classes mandatory in our county institutions. This appears to be the direction we're going in any case. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next public speaker is Ms. Sheila Kletz.
I apologize in advance. I've never been to one of these meetings. I'm sure there was a different way to handle this, but I'm just going to read this. I began my employment with the county in 1998. I guess I should also start that I am one of the positions that were eliminated. I began my employment with county in 1998. I applied for a position as a DV clerk and received that in May of 1999. In 2010, I was forced to take a salary cut of 5% and was moved to from adult probation to juvenile detention center, ironically at a time that the county was having financial difficulties as well. Fast forward to October 16, 2017, I was handed a pink slip by Cassie Taylor, the Director of Court Services, saying that my position had been eliminated. Included in the letter that I was given, in closing, it was stated that if I had any questions, I could contact Bill Wasson, Eric Schmidt, or Don Knapp. I contacted all three of these individuals via email and carbon copied Cassie Taylor on October 25th, 2017, requesting a meeting to discuss questions and/or options that may have been available to me. I was not contacted by any of these people, but rather it was addressed by Cassie. I did not seek a meeting with her. I wanted to speak with Human Resources representative who would be able to answer IMRF 401k insurance questions or the attorney for the county legal questions that I had. I would also like to point out that currently the JDC is not fully staffed and current staff are called in and paid overtime to make sure that there are needed amount of staff in the building as required by the state. I do not understand why a position would be eliminated when we are already short-staffed, and I cannot fathom how this cut can be anything but counterproductive in the budget. I realize that nothing I say will bring back my position, and I accept that. However, on December 29th, I will no longer have any income to pay my bills. I will have no health insurance, which I have diabetes, required medicine. I will have no health insurance to cover my medically required prescriptions, no life insurance, no dental, no vision. I am standing here before you today requesting a waiver due to my age of 54 and 10 months shy of collecting my pension that I be included in the current incentive package as a small token of your appreciation for my 19 years and 3 months of service to the county. Thank you very much and for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Klett. We'll move on now to the consent agenda. You have it before you. What say you?
Move be approved as presented.
Motion by Member Segoviano, second by Member Casely to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Next item that we have is.
So you had a 2/3.
Sorry, yeah. I'm item D. At the bottom of page 1, we have a transfer ordinance which requires a 2/3 vote. Is there anyone here that would like to have their vote recorded as dissenting? If not, then the consent passes unanimously, and we'll move on to item G, approval of resolutions and congratulations and commendations. Member Segoviano. Is Mr. Sean Foster here? Would you please come to the podium?
So resolution of congratulations. You know, there's one thing I think that McLean County is quite proud of. We always talk about being leaders downstate Illinois, and I think this board has proven that on many occasions. We also talk about the quality of education that is provided here in McLean County, and one of the reasons this resolution is a good example of how our children are being educated here in McLean County. Whereas the McLean County Board wishes to recognize the outstanding accomplishment of Central Catholic High School in being named a 2017 National Blue Ribbon School by the U.S. Secretary of State of Education. And whereas a National Blue Ribbon School program honors public and private elementary, middle, and high schools where students agree and achieve a very high learning standard or are making notable improvements in closing the achievement gap. And whereas schools are nominated for the award by the State Department of Education and then compete in a comprehensive application, and whereas a private school must meet a trio of criteria to earn the honor, including math and reading state assessment scores in the top 15% of the nation, and a graduation rate of at least 95% of the most recent year. And whereas Central Catholic High School is one of 25 Illinois schools and 342 nationwide receiving this honor, and therefore be it resolved by the members of McLean County Board that the staff, students, and parents of Central Catholic High School are to be congratulated on their commitment to academic excellence and commending for being named a 2017 National Blue Ribbon School. Adopted by the McLean County Board this 7th day of October 2017, attested by Kathy Michaels, Clerk of the County Board, and approved by John McIntyre, Chairman of the McLean County Board. Principal of Central Catholic High School, Sean Foster, congratulations to you, your students, faculty, and staff, and everyone.
Thank you for this opportunity and for recognizing Central Catholic today. 2 weeks ago, I attended with one of our teachers, Assistant Principal Frank Arnolds, in Washington, D.C. at the National Blue Ribbon Ceremony by the Department of Education. And one of the speakers there shared something that I didn't even fully realize until that day, that less than 1/4% schools in the nation receive this award each year. So we were one of 342 schools out of 130,000 in the nation that received this award. So it is something that we're very proud of, and we're honored to have received that award. Last week we had a conference at our school. We had a ceremony at our school, and one of the things I shared with all those who were present was that it is really our predecessors who enabled us, and their support and their efforts enabled us to be where we're at today to receive the award this year. And by extension, I would like to offer those remarks to this board and this community. It is more than one person, it's more than one school, it's this entire community that allows this. In Bloomington, we are known for great education across the board, and so we're very fortunate to be here. We're very fortunate to have your support, and I thank you guys for all that you do for our community, specifically at Central Catholic. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. We'll move on to the report of the standing committees. First of all, a report of the Executive Committee Vice Chairman, Member Soldner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Executive Committee has several items for action today. First item is 7A1A1. 7A1A, request for approval for fiscal year 2018 budget as recommended by the Executive Committee through the administration, and I so move. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then the next item is request for approval and adoption of the fiscal year 2018 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance and the 5-year capital improvement plan, and authorize the chairman and county clerk to sign through the administration, and I so move that.
Motion by Member Soldner, item A1A1, as we're going to divide this into sections. Is there a second to the motion? Second by Member Schaefer. Comments or questions? Member Segoviano?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd certainly like to make a comment in regards to the proposed budget and would seek the support of this board. Today, we are about to adopt a budget that is eliminating many county jobs, reducing the budget and asking all our departments and employees to sacrifice in 2018. I'm going to support the budget today, but I can only support this budget if the Economic Development Corporation funding that we have approved in the county board budget is followed in December by a memorandum of understanding passed by the county board, which outlines requirement for the EDC to meet in 2018. Without such an MOU, that's a memorandum of understanding, including an itemized budget of the county funds are spent on, monthly report to the exec committee, and regular presentation to the board or exec committee, I will not vote to approve this budget. I think it's imperative that the money that we allocate to them be identified to our taxpayers exactly how that money is being spent.
So no motion at this time, just duly noted.
Yes.
The statement, okay, as part of that. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Member Baird.
Yeah, I would like to move to amend the motion And I would propose that the unappropriated fund balance, which is line item 001, 001, 001, 0400, 000. I would move that that be increased by $3,000 from $742,413 to $745,413, and then in addition reduce the general property tax line 001, 0001, 001, 0400, 0001. I think about my zeros there. By $3,000 from $9,589,000 to $9,586,000. This nominal adjustment will keep our tax rate identical to the prior year.
So as I understand this, you want to transfer, request an amendment to the motion to move $3,000 from the general fund into, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, from one line item to another, in order to balance the budget? No?
In order to keep the levy the same as last year, so it would reduce the tax, the rate.
The rate.
The rate,
That's
the same as last year.
Okay, is there a second to the amendment? Member Scritchlow. Comments or questions or discussion? If none,
I just
any
have one comment for the
Member
administrator.
Rostelli?
Does this actually do what
It's anticipated currently with the projected EAV that we have projected that it would accomplish what has been outlined.
Okay, other comments or questions? Member Solner?
So we also will need to do that under item 3 also, right?
Yes.
Change the levy. Okay.
Yeah, yes, as well. Any other comments or questions on the vote on the amendment to the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. Let's go back. Are there any comments or discussion on the motion? If not, we'll have a roll call vote. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Member Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate what Member Segoviano said, and I'm wondering if there is something that we can do to put a little bit more teeth to what it is that he suggested, rather than just either a memorandum of understanding. What is the, before we appropriate the money, to be honest with you, I'd like to see exactly what he asked for. I'd like to see a budget. I don't believe that we should give money, taxpayer dollars, to another entity without having that information being disclosed to us. So I'd like to at least ask this board to consider what we could do, and if there are other ideas or other support for this idea, that we would withhold the EDC money until we have seen at least a line item budget of how our county dollars are being spent. So it's more of a question towards the rest of the members to kind of gauge interest and see what could actually be done from this period.
This is really going to complicate matters on passing the budget. As you understand it, it was my thinking that the memorandum of understanding would actually, precipitate them providing that information for us before monthly payments were made to them through our budget line item.
And as the representative on the EDC board, it's certainly something that I will make clear, that a memorandum of understanding needs to come forward to the executive committee by the staff at the EDC, and that expectation, whether it's voted on or not, I'll make it clear that that's something that this board expects, and if it doesn't get, the board can also always make a budget amendment if necessary. So very performance-based appropriation.
So if this is satisfactory, it's recorded in the minutes and we will follow through. I know that the request was originally from Member Segoviano, Member Erickson, I believe, for MOU, and that has been drafted and we are following up with that as well. Any comments? Any other comments on that?
I just have a general comment. I just wanted to ask the administrator. My understanding was you had sent some information about the potential impact of the reduction in workforce. And one of the things that I thought you had said, but I just want to confirm this on the record, is that for every position that was eliminated, there were sufficient open authorized positions that could be offered for continuing full-time employment for all the individuals scheduled for a reduction in force. It may require a reduction in pay and various things, but I just want to make sure that that is accurate, that information.
That information is accurate as of Friday of this week. So it did require, through the process, some individuals to continue to elect the VRI, but through the process, as of Friday, we have sufficient open full-time positions to accommodate all those remaining staff members whose positions have been identified for reduction in force. We can accommodate them with another full-time position. And we believe that all the positions available and the individuals would have the qualifications to be able to perform those positions. There will be circumstances where, because of a change in classification, there would be a reduction in compensation, although I would note that the county board did take action to try to reduce that impact to individuals in reduction in force positions as part of actions they took a couple of months ago.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Member Erickson.
Where are we at on Mr. Segoviano's motion? Do we have a second? Is that what Member Rankin did, or where are we at on this?
There is a motion for the original motion. Motion to approve as amended, and we're having discussion on that.
So we're addressing that, we're addressing Member Segoviano's motion now?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
No.
technically, you didn't make a motion.
Member Soldner's motion.
Never made a motion.
Member Segoviano
Okay.
made a public comment on the, Member Soldner made the motion on the original motion.
Okay, well, I'm still confused. And what are we doing with, what's going to be the
We
standing of
passed an
the?
amendment to the original motion, item A1A1.
I got that part. I'm
And
a little
we're-
confused on the second part with the memorandum of understanding. Is that understood that that's going to be the process going forward, or do we have to vote on that?
No, it's just, that's just understood and part of our minutes of our meeting.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I would like to address that, though.
With your, right, we're okay with that? And then, okay. Yes, Member Erickson.
Yeah, thank you. I have had a lot of discussions about this with Member Rankin and Member Segoviano. Always interesting here that sometimes you're on the other side and you're having respectful disagreements, but on this one, I'm 100% with them. I think it's a great idea. I sometimes wonder why we haven't done this earlier, but it is what it is. I don't think we should view it as being necessarily anti-EDC, as it being more pro-taxpayer and more pro-transparency. I am more than happy to join with Member Segoviano in that request and Member Rankin, and it's nice to work with them when I can, so thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion. I'm sorry. Member Woolrab.
Comment and question, Mr. Chairman. I also agree with my colleagues on this, but my question is, I don't know what the process is in terms of making that payment. Is it generally been a one-time upfront payment at the beginning of the year, or do we spread it out so that we have some opportunity to withhold funds should we not get the requested, which I would think we will get it, but the
As I understand it, and I'll see if the staff can correct me, as I understand it, it would be a monthly payment which would be approved by committee. And that's what the memorandum of understanding signed states that it would be as such. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
So historically, the payments have been made on a quarterly basis that have been invoiced by the EDC. The draft MOU that has been provided to the EDC for review and consideration requires monthly receivables and monthly payments based upon their meeting those requirements.
Any other comments or questions? We have a motion on the floor. Member Casely?
I think it should be pointed out that the reduction in force of the county employees is not something that this board desired to do, but we suffered a 2% loss of state funds. and for the collection of retailers' occupation tax and use taxes, and it made a giant hole in our budget, and this is in response to that legislation which was passed by the General Assembly.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Member Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to comment about the little bit of discussion that's going on right now about our funding with the Economic Development Council. I've always been very impressed with the work that the EDC has done and our collaboration with them in moving forward some key projects, such as the Brant project that was brought forward just this past week. I'm very confident in their ability to lead and to do good for our community. I get one item of note I guess I would just bring up and encourage our board members. Information from the EDC and understanding what they do and their mission and how they're impacting our community, that is a two-way street. And every quarter, the EDC hosts being by the numbers luncheons where they're given reports about the economic status of McLean County and everything from our workforce to housing and the overall economy within the Bloomington-Normal and the surrounding rural areas of McLean County. Earlier this year, the EDC hosted a BN Beyond luncheon. There are numerous events that the EDC does. They have a monthly newsletter that goes out updating people on activities of the EDC as well as upcoming events that they may have going on. And many times at these events that I attend quite a few of them, I generally only see a handful of county board members in attendance, which is always disappointing. And I know work schedules and other schedules get in the way, but I would just like to encourage my fellow board members, if you'd like to see more on the ground of what the EDC is doing and have a better understanding of some of where some of our investment is going, I would encourage you to attend some of these events and to get involved and to see firsthand what the EDC is doing with our money. Partially, yes, I agree the EDC could present us more information here, but also I think it's imperative on us as investors in that organization to go and be part of the work that they're doing each day. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Member Rankin.
Just one more point. I think I'd like to see in the future, I know currently, and this has no bearing on me because I will no longer be a member of the board by the time this board reorganizes. When we do, I think that whoever is our representative for the EDC ought to be a member of finance, at least in the respect of that's the oversight board that usually discusses these things. And it would be nice for that person to be able to give us some feedback and talk to us. I can't imagine why our representative of the economic development county would not be on the finance committee. I think that would be beneficial specifically to the committee and may be able to help alleviate some of these concerns if we could just say, hey, we know that you're a member of this board. Could you make sure that you take our wishes forward? And it may be able to get around some of these issues that we're dealing with now.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Chambers, State's Attorney.
Sorry, I don't talk enough of these to be in the habit of flipping those on. I just want to throw out a reminder, if there is an event like the BN meetings that a significant number of you start going to, you might want to get in the habit of maybe sending an email to admin saying I'm going to this, because if we had a situation where we had 7 of you show up there, that's the majority of the quorum. We would have an Open Meetings Act issue, which we could address, but it would just be something we'd have to put a notice out.
Thank you for that information. Any other comments or questions? We're still on the motion as presented by Member Solner, as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I just follow up on my comments in regards to this item. First of all, I think, all of us appreciate the effort that Mr. Watson and his staff has put together this budget to present to us. Tremendous amount of work. My reason for not asking this to be pulled from the budget was an appreciation of their work. However, I think at the beginning of this, my major concern was the well-being of our employees. Some will not be replaced, others have been asked to take early out, and the most important thing is those remaining will not receive a pay raise. We give $100,000, I think this year it's $98,000, without any itemized budget whatsoever. We are going to adopt a budget as itemized, something that we can tell the taxpayers, this is what we're spending your money on. My intent was simply to make sure this money is not being spent until such time we are given an itemized budget reporting to the executive committee as to how this money will be well spent. And I could go on and name some incidents from Mr. Barrett's information, that we've never received even so much as a paragraph about one voice in going to Washington, a tremendous amount of money being spent. That day, that Friday, Senator Durbin beat the committee back to town and had a public hearing at Illinois Western University. And yet we never received one item of any information as what that trip cost the taxpayers and what was accomplished there. All I'm asking for is, this money be held in abeyance until such time that they report to us. And I've talked to other members of this board who represent rural communities here. There's a lot of need out there, and I think EDC ought to be taking a better look, a stronger look as to what their needs are and how best they can be served with their tax dollars. And that was my purpose of bringing this up, so that we can get a better handle on how we're spending taxpayers' money. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Member Segoviano. Any other comments or questions on the motion as amended on the floor? If none, this will require a roll call vote. So please, clerk, please call the roll. Chair will vote.
Josh Barnett,
Yes.
Jacob Beard,
Yes.
William Casey,
Yes.
Don Cavallini,
Yes.
Chuck Erickson,
Yes.
Mark Johnson,
Yes.
Randall Martin,
Yes.
Catherine Metzger,
Yes.
Scott Murphy,
Yes.
Eric Rankin,
Yes.
Carla Robustelli,
Yes.
Susan Schaefer,
Yes.
Ryan Scritchlow,
Yes.
Paul Segoviano,
Yes.
David Seltzer,
Yes.
James Solner,
Yes.
George Wendt,
Yes.
Lori Walrab,
Yes.
John McIntyre.
Yes, motion carries 19 votes for, none against, as amended. Okay, we'll move on, Chairman, Vice Chairman Solmer.
Thank you very much. 7A1A2, request for approval and adoption of the fiscal year 2018 full-time equivalent positions resolutions, and authorize the chairman and the county clerk to sign. I move that.
Motion by Member Solner. Is there a second? Second by Member Murphy. Comments or questions on the motion as presented? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
All right, next item is 7A1A3, request approval and adoption of the 2018 tax levy ordinance to Mclean County, and authorize the chairman and the county clerk to sign through the administration as adopted. Would that be correct?
Yes, as amended and
As amended.
adopted, yes.
I so move that.
So the motion to pass the change in the tax rate on the levy as amended. Correct. Getting interrupted.
I make the motion. So we need to, in other words, we need the amendment again.
Okay.
We need to amend it.
We have a second on the motion to approve. Second by Member Cavallini. Now, we also need a motion
So,
to
like
accept
offer-
the motion
Yeah.
as amended.
I would make a move to amend
So I'm
this
back to you, Mr. Baird.
to change the proposed tax levy for the county general fund to reduce by $3,000 from $9,589,000 to $9,586,000.
All right, would you repeat that, please?
Yep, I'd like to, I typed it out, so. I move to amend the motion on the floor. My amendment is that the proposed tax levy for the county general fund is reduced by $3,000 from $9,589,000 to $9,586,000, and this is on page 68.
All right, there is a motion to amend by Member Baird, second by Member Scritchlow, for the tax levy rate as such. Any comments or questions, Member Solner?
Yeah, I apologize for the confusion. The first amendment was we amended the budget, and
Yes,
this
sir.
time we're amending the levy.
Right,
So
that's correct.
I apologize for
So we're
that.
voting on the amendment to the levy now. Is there any other comments or questions?
I just would like to say, it was said before, but thank you for administration and staff in such a difficult budget year that we're able to keep the rate the same. It's a testament to the work of the administration.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion has carried. Now we'll need a vote on the motion as amended. And this will require a roll call vote. Are there any more comments or questions? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Josh Barnett,
Yes.
Jacob Beard,
Yes.
William Caisley,
Yes.
Don Cavallini,
Yes.
Chuck Erickson, Mark Johnson,
Yes.
Randall Martin,
Yes.
Catherine Metzger, Scott Murphy,
Yes.
Eric Rankin, Carla Robustelli, Susan Schaefer, Ryan Scritchlow,
Yes.
Paul Segoviano, David Seltzer, James Solner, George Wendt, Lori Wolrab. Are you voting on this?
Yes.
John McIntyre.
Motion's carried, 19 votes yes, 0 votes for no. The motion has carried as amended, and we'll move on.
All right, the last item is 7A1A4, request county board authorization to have the county administrator publish the fiscal year 2018 adopt a budget appropriation ordinance and the 2017 tax levy ordinance as adopted, as amended.
Motion by member Solner, second by member Cavallini. Comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
There are numerous items for information, along with some minutes and some other reports, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Property Committee, Chairman Segoviano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Property Committee brings no action for items this morning. Our unapproved minutes can be found on pages 38 to 40. I'd be willing to answer any questions.
Thank you. We'll move on to the Justice Committee, Vice Chairman Wendt.
Mr. Chairman, we have one item for approval, and that is the request approval of the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Bloomington and the County of Mclean regulating the use of the County of Mclean of the police shooting range facility of the City of Bloomington. I so move.
Motion by member Wendt, second by member Martin. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
And our general report is on page 42 and 45 of the unapproved minutes.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the Finance Committee. Everybody's got this.
Thank
Chairman Seltzer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We bring no items for action, but I do have one question that I'm hoping the administrator can clarify for myself and possibly others. The voluntary reduction in force that we put in place that a number of employees took advantage of also called for opening positions up to those people that were in positions, if I'm not mistaken, that were in a voluntary or maybe an involuntary reduction of the position. The pay protection question is what I'm bringing to you. Could you clarify what that was for pay protecting employees moving from one job to another one?
Yes, sir. The pay protection that was included in the action of the county board as part of both the VRI and reduction of force initiatives was to allow an employee who is moving to a lower classification position, as long as their pay rate is within the range of that lower classification, then they would maintain their current salary level. If they are moving to a classification where their current salary rate is not within the range and is above the range, then they would be brought in at the top step for that job classification range that they're moving to.
Thank you. I have no other items for information or action. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Health Committee report, Chair Member Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Health Committee has no items for action today, and our minutes can be found on pages 17 through 23 of the packet.
Thank you. Land Use and Development Committee, Chairman Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Land Use and Development Committee has no items to be presented for action, and our general report can be found on pages 33 through 37 of the unapproved minutes.
Thank you, sir. Transportation Committee Chairman Casely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have two items that we're bringing for action. The first is a request for approval of the federal Section 5311 intercity bus program application for show bus through the Highway Department. This is a request that covers 6 counties in addition to McLean County. It covers Ford, Iroquois, Livingston, Macon, and DeWitt counties. And I move that.
Motion by Member Casely, second by Member Martin. Comments or questions? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Our second request is for approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance transferring $250,000 from the unappropriated fund balance to the county bridge fund to cover the cost of the construction of 2 bridges and a number of culverts on both county and township roads.
Motion by Member Casely, second by Member Cavallini. Comments or questions about the transfer? This requires a 2/3 vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anybody want their vote recorded? Then the motion is unanimous.
Our general report is found on pages 24 through 32. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the report of the County Administrator, Mr. Wasson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the end of what has been an extremely difficult budget process, one that I think I came in 2008, 2009, and I thought that the results of the Great Recession were a challenge for us from a county standpoint. And unfortunately, I've now experienced 2 of those processes, and I want to thank not only the county board members, but also all our elected officials and department heads, because without their cooperation and assistance, we would absolutely not be where we are today, which I think is at least a tenable situation as we move forward into fiscal year 2018, and we continue to evaluate and understand the impacts of the processes of the state and their budget. Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have other business and communication at this time? Any comments? Member Zollner.
Yes, I just wanted to take a minute to give a plug for Small Business Saturday, which will be this coming Saturday. I wanted to hope that members of the community would try and do their best to participate and to do their purchasing in the smaller businesses, not only in the rural parts of the county, but the small businesses here in Bloomington Normal. I believe it's every dollar spent gets moved 7 times, I think, in the economy. So it would be good for all of us. And then lastly, I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Member Erickson.
It's called a Keynesian multiplier, just for the record. So when you do spend money and you give tax cuts, sometimes it multiplies through the economy. Just thought I'd add that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? We will have a open house here, reception on Friday, December 8th, for everyone who took the voluntary retirement incentive at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. right in this room. And we welcome everybody to attend, and we'll get more information to board members and other people in the public for that. We have a group of how many now are retiring? 16, 21. So we want to wish them well and have a reception for them. Also, this coming year is the bicentennial for the state of Illinois, and so there will be a number of celebrations. The initial beginning of this is going to be on Monday, December 4th, and I am serving also on the task force for the bicentennial. We will have a flag raising ceremony. Hopefully, we'll get you the time of this at the Museum of History. And we have a flag that I have a possession of to put up for the bicentennial celebration as well. So thank you very much. Is there any other further comments or questions? If not, we have bills to pay in the amount of $3,743,081. These have been reviewed and approved for payment by the auditor. Is there a motion to approve? Member Schaefer, second by Member Barnett. Comments and questions about the bills? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your